This is a great time to be innovative in problem solving, release outdated thinking, thinking outside the box. So possible. This is genius energy because Mercury is our mind, our thought process, our communication. So it represents our thinking mind. And Uranus is the higher mind. It's considered the higher octave of Mercury. So this is genius energy. It's actually asking you to step into genius by releasing old thought patterns and seeing what is possible for you. Welcome to the Story of Spirit podcast, where practical spirituality meets real life. Hi, I'm your host, She Tells Story. I'm a psychic medium, grief support counselor, professional astrologer, and a human design reader, and of course, a law of attraction master coach. With my unique blend of spiritual and practical tools, I am here to help you align with your soul-led purpose and ignite a life that sets your soul on fire. In this podcast, we are going to explore the principles of energy, astrology, spirituality, and psychology to help you heal your grief and create an aligned life and business from the inside out. Whether you are looking to deepen your intuition, understand your cosmic design, or transform your business, this podcast is for you. Join me each week for insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories that will guide you on your journey to living your very best life. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at She Tells Story or wherever you listen to this podcast. Let's dive in and start this transformative journey together. Welcome to the Story of Spirit podcast. Welcome to the Astro Forecast for the week of November 17th to the 23rd. We are in it, aren't we? This is a time of 5 planets being retrograde at this time. Mercury, which is a personal planet of our mind, communication, thought processes, is slowing down, is already very slow. And we are about to go into a very mercurial retrograde week. And you're like, great. This is about really stopping and slowing down. I'm going to say we're not stopping. I mean, life is continuing on for all of us, but this is a time now of massive introspection. And as Mercury is moving has been in Sagittarius and will move into Scorpio this week. So it's retrograding back from Sagittarius into Scorpio. Now, the planet does not go backwards in the sky. It is going slower than the Earth. So because it's going slower than the Earth, the way that it looks like it's going backwards mathematically relative to the Earth. Okay, so it doesn't happen. Actually got into a bit of an argument with a guy on social media. Astrology sucks. And I was like, and what's your reference? What are you saying? And he's like, well, planets don't go backwards. I was like, no, astrology doesn't say that. He's like, well, it's retrograde. So it's like, it actually goes slower than the Earth in its trajectory around the sun. And planets don't always go the same speed around the sun. And he totally Googled me and he never responded. So that is what we're in. And what this means symbolically as that energy that's supposed to be coming onto this planet in a certain way is no longer coming onto this planet in that way. We are feeling it. We're feeling that slowdown, but it is a cosmic pause for us to take notice, to look at the things that we've been glossing over or not finishing, right? It's actually a bit of a timeout for us to clean up, what's behind the scenes. So this is great. And when Mercury is in Sagittarius, it doesn't like to be there. We call it in detriment in astrology. And it's hard because Sagittarius just wants to go. It doesn't want to think about it. It's very big picture. It's details aren't its thing. And Mercury, it loves details. That's why it's ruling, the signs that it rules are Virgo and Gemini, which are the 2 signs that are a little bit anal. Yeah, and I can say that because I'm a Virgo. But this is not a place that Mercury likes to be in because it's, again, Sagittarius wants to just go. And then as it moves from Sagittarius now of really thinking about your big picture moves, thinking about where do you want to go, what adventures you want to go on, what is your mission and your vision for your life, you're now going to go back into Scorpio now and go, why are you holding yourself back in these ways? What is really underneath? Scorpio is like the darkness that comes to the light. Like we bring light to the darkness. It is generational trauma, healing, mental wellness. It's also the money that we owe, debt, taxes, things that we owe other people because we didn't either, we borrowed it, we took it at a time that we needed it, and now we got to give it back. So it is a very, by its nature, meant to be a deep, introspective, passionate sign. And it's not here for fluff, right? And Mercury retrograde in Scorpio is going to bring up all of these shadows from the past. And I know in spirituality, we talk about the shadow a lot, but the shadow actually means the parts of us that were hard to love in the moment, or the parts of us that we don't want to talk about, that we were ashamed of or guilty of, things of the past that we are like, I'd rather not talk about it. But when we do that, we're actually shoving that part of us behind a door and closing it and saying, shut up. I don't want to hear from you. But that part of you comes with gifts. She's important. She has things to say that are going to really help you out. And you have to listen, because as you bring those parts back in and say, I love you, I see what you went through. And now it's time for you to come back. It's time for me to say, I'm sorry to you for not listening to you. All the times that I felt ashamed of you, I really was feeling ashamed of myself for these decisions, but you made the decisions in the right and perfect way because you're smart, powerful, capable woman. And even as a child, you did things that were brilliant that no one taught you how to do, but you did them because that's how you survived. And we bring those parts of us that had to survive home again, and we love all those parts of us. So Scorpio season, nice and light, yay Scorpio, right? God love our Scorpios, because we need it. This is an integral part of the collective. We can't just gloss over this crap. So on Monday, November 17th, we start off in a fourth quarter phase of the moon. So the moon is losing light. We're coming into the dark time of the moon, and it's in Libra. And this Libra energy is going to permeate this week, asking you to balance what you need in relationships versus what other people need. And where do you give away so that you make other people happy, but then at the expense of yourself? And we kind of, it's a one-way ticket to burnout, a one-way ticket to resentment, martyrdom starts in those places as well. And we really want to bring that back to wholeness. Remember, that's going to be the theme of this week, is wholeness. Libra is scales. It requires balance. And there's no such thing as balance. We're always recalibrating as humans, especially as women. There's so many things that are on our plate and responsibilities that we play. And as we're recalibrating in every moment, we're trying to find the harmony in our life. What does harmony look like for you as you're with connection with other people? So on Monday, November 17th, we have a very rare aspect that we don't often see just by itself. It's normally kind of part of, things, but we have 3 planets that are in trine to each other. Trine is a 120-degree aspect. So if you think about 3 planets in trine together, it forms a triangle, right? And I think it's an isosceles triangle, or no, equilateral triangle it's called, right? Because all the angles are equal, 120-degree angles within the triangle. And the triangle is considered the most ease-filled, the most auspicious formation in astrology. So a grand trine usually is in one element, because there's 3 elements in a 3 signs in an element. That's what I wanted to say. So they're called the quadruplicities. In these trines, this is a grand water trine. And a grand water trine makes us very sensitive, intuitive, flowy, emotional, right? There's this sort of flow with water. That water in the zodiac or in astrology represents emotions. It's our kind of our emotional nature, it's intuition, it's our divine feminine nature of flowing with, nurturing, family. Those topics are very hot this week. And relationships, right? So in the grand water trine, we have the sun in Scorpio, trine Jupiter retrograde in Cancer, and then trine Saturn retrograde in Pisces. So 2 retrograde planets are part of this trine. But this is a helpful aspect for us this week. We need it during Mercury retrograde season. 5 planets retrograde. We need all the help we can get. This is a help, and it's on Monday. So this harmonious alignment amplifies emotional intelligence, compassion, and intuitive clarity. You can easily flow between feelings, practical planning, and higher wisdom. It's an ideal day for spiritual insight, relationship understandings, and heartfelt work. Opportunities arise when you balance ambition and emotional depth. So nurture emotional connections. There's very spiritual, and this is a very practical line because Saturn is in there. So this can help us get things done this week and sort of move forward in a time that there's a lot of retrograde planets, but this can also be an indulgence because Jupiter is involved, and it can also be avoidance of reality. So, because that water can make you feel like everything is so ethereal and rose colored glasses, and we really want to be practical. I think Saturn is really bringing itself, but it's retrograde in Pisces. So, it's really trying to remove guises. Sometimes our emotions can overtake our mind, like that grounded sense of earth might be missing at this time because we really everything just looks and feels so lovely. I had an experience where my son had to go see a specialist, and the doctor, it was actually a dentist who was helping to expand his jaw because he was a mouth breather ever since he was little because he had had the adenoids and tonsils that were enlarged. So he never properly learned how to breathe through his nose. And then as a result of that, his cheek, his jaw muscles, his tongue didn't develop properly. So we first had to find a jaw expander that wasn't painful. And there's many different ways to do that in dentistry. I've become an expert in things I didn't think I was going to become an expert in. So the dentist had recommended a few people for us to go and check out and see what we felt comfortable with, because it's an appliance that we would have to pay for out of pocket. And we went to, so I took my son to this dentist, and she was so passionate. Her energy, she really believed in this device. It was supposed to expand your jaw. It was based on springs and all these things. And I was like, wow, I really got caught up in her enthusiasm and her emotion. And if I had been left to my own devices, I likely would have chosen her. Unbeknownst to me, my husband, I know that he has apnea, but the dentist had recommended that he go see this same dentist as well that specializes in jaw expansion because they thought his apnea could be part of that. I didn't know that he had an appointment that next week. He just said, oh, I'm going for a specialist appointment for, they think it can help me with my apnea. I was like, that sounds fabulous. So he came back and he's like, yeah, I saw this dentist. I was like, oh, we saw the dentist last week. And he's like, yeah. And she wanted to sell me on this jaw expander thing with springs and stuff. And he's like, and I listened, and she sold the same device to every single person as I was in the waiting room. And because you could hear, because it's an open kind of office concept, which obviously not great for a dentist appointment. But anyways, and I would have made the decision on my emotions because she was so passionate, so convicted with what she believed in. But actually, she was just peddling the same solution to everybody, regardless of how old you are or what was happening to you, whatever. And could the solution really be for everybody? I mean, she believed it to be true, but my husband's like, I think she's shady as F. And I was like, okay, let's check out the next dentist. And the next dentist was really cool because he was willing to make an appliance for him. He's an orthodontist that we eventually ended up going with. He said it's kind of experimental, but he said I think it'll work because here's the kind of the science behind it and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I like it. And I trusted him, and he was very rooted in science and reality, and he was talking about it. And then later on I found out that the other dentist was kind of considered a quack in dentistry world, which I felt bad for her. And because her science was not founded like proper science, like it was sort of on a bunch of theories that about bone growth and stuff, whereas his were actually founded on science. So interesting, we would have made the wrong decision. So all this to say is that Monday you can get carried away with making a decision or thinking the best of something because it's rose colored glasses. So really being mindful of that and not making any decisions really during this time, right? Getting information, gathering that information, and then making decision after Mercury goes direct, which I would say would be, and out of shade would be mid December if you can. If you can't because there's deadlines and you're making choices, I get it. You're going to make it at the best possible way that you can, but you're just not seeing things clearly in this moment. Also on Monday, November 17th, we have Mercury retrograde sextile to Pluto at the first degrees of their signs. And this is an aspect that encourages deep thinking, research, reflection on previous overlooked truths. Insights may uncover hidden opportunities or patterns. Use this energy to plan strategically and understand complex situations. Transformation comes from thoughtful reflection rather than action now. So again, about reflection because Mercury is retrograde. So this is a good day. I feel like Monday is going to feel like very easeful. You can move through things, plow through things very easily. Just don't get carried away with, grandiose ideas or someone peddling snake oil your way and be like, oh, I'm going to wait on that. On Tuesday, November 18th, now Mercury moves out of Sagittarius. So it would be at that 0 degree mark of Sagittarius and then moving into 29 degrees of Scorpio. This is a very potent degree of Scorpio. This is really going to bring up the shadow parts of your thinking and the patterns that are contributing to your life. So you might notice that Monday, late Monday into Tuesday, you can have a lot of sort of triggering situations or even just realizations. Like this is not a bad energy. I really don't want anyone to be like, oh my god, here we are. This is about actually understanding that there's something coming to light, and it might even test you, right, to see, like, did you learn the lesson, or are you doing the things that you're supposed to be doing now after all of the trials and errors that you've had of the past, right? So this is a time of either being tested or noticing how far you've come, right? Those are good things, right? Good things. And if you haven't been doing the work, then it's going to feel like you've been triggered AF. And I'm sending you so much love if that is you. Mercury retrograde moves into Scorpio, intensifying introspection and investigative thinking. Secrets, hidden motivations, and unresolved issues may resurface now. This is a time for careful observation, reviewing communications, and digging beneath the surface. Emotional intelligence guides your decisions better than logic will. So you really want to listen to your emotions as well, listen to your intuition, what it's telling you, see the patterns that are swirling around you. If you're connected, if you've got hooks into the situation, you're going to continue to be triggered and just this is happening to me, victim. And we want to really step back and going, wait, what is the motivation of everybody here? How is this reflecting something in me that needs to be healed, right? Stepping back into those questions of curiosity versus judgment and going, what is this trying to teach me? What is this reminding me of my past? Why am I so worked up about this, right? Asking those curious questions, because your mind has to answer curious questions. It won't just be able to sit in victim if something's happening to you. And, I say sitting in victim, a lot of my spiritual friend, I think in spiritual circles, we're like, oh, I'm not a victim. And, your ego will feel like a victim in situations. That is natural. That is normal. If you're like, I never feel like I'm victimized, well, then, blessings, because you're lying to yourself, right? If something happens, sometimes our mind sometimes will go like, why is this happening to me? Especially when multiple things happen at the same time. And we always get to have the opportunity to come out of it of going, okay, this is happening for me, not to me, for me, not to me, as me actually. Everything is a reflection of you. What is this meant to teach me? That is going to be very helpful with Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, y'all. So, and then on Wednesday, November 19th, Mercury retrograde at Scorpio 29 degree is opposite Uranus retrograde at the 29 degree of Taurus. 29 degrees is called an anaretic or critical degree in astrology, and it is a time where you will be tested. The 29th degree is how much did you learn of this sign? Are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? Now, the Scorpio Taurus axis is about money. Taurus is about resources, the things that we the things that we own, our money, our gifts and talents, our resources. And then Scorpio is the money that we owe. It is taxes. It can be inheritance, money that comes in from other means, not means that you have earned. Debt is that as well. And when you think about it, is that it's also generational trauma and things that we've picked up from our ancestors as well. So this aspect will bring sudden insights. Uranus is very erratic, right? It's meant to break up. It is chaos. It is here to disrupt the collective. It is Aquarius's ruling planet. So it's here to bring about change and evolution through disruption. So this is about disrupting the status quo today. And I wouldn't be surprised, as in the news this week, of having some major disruptions to world events, things that are going to come up that are just going to be like shocking. Or Uranus as well in 29 degree of Taurus is natural disasters as well. So this is earthquakes, volcanic eruptions. It can be catastrophic storms. We just saw a massive storm come through, like it is with the global warming, we're just seeing things kind of amplified. Expect the unexpected. I know many of you are like, I hate that phrase, but the more you are able to flow with the unexpected, the more resilient you will be. It is a gift to be cultivated, a skill to be cultivated. Expect the unexpected and embrace flexibility. Rigid thinking may create friction, but openness can turn challenges into breakthroughs. Think creatively and stay adaptable. This is a great time to be innovative in problem solving, release outdated thinking, thinking outside the box. So possible. This is genius energy because Mercury is our mind, our thought process, our communication. So it represents our kind of our thinking mind. And Uranus is the higher mind. It's considered the higher octave of Mercury. So this is genius energy. It's actually asking you to step into genius by releasing old thought patterns and seeing what is possible for you. And if you don't feel safe going into uncertainty or making big leaps in terms of choices, or I mean, now is not the time to make a big choice in anything with this energy, but it is an opportunity to see outside the box. This would be a great time if you're working with a coach to have a call with your coach and be like, okay, here are the things I'm dealing with, and then see what genius can arise from that. Be careful for impulsivity, frustration, and tension, okay? Because this is like it wants to disrupt old patterns. And if you make erratic decisions now, it might not be the best for everybody. Like, this is great for out of the box thinking, not out of the box doing just yet, unless you have these planets retrograde in your chart. And then also on Wednesday, because Mercury is at the 29 degree of Scorpio, it is also going to trine Neptune at the 29 degree of Pisces retrograde. So, two retrograde planets here. This trine enhances intuition, creativity, and emotional understanding. You may feel guided to explore spiritual or artistic endeavors. Trust subtle insights, your inner voice, rather than rushing decisions. Again, no rushing anything right now. Reflection and imagination bring clarity. This as well can be Pollyanna thinking. Anything is possible. I can do all the things. Again, that Neptune retrograde in Pisces, 29 degree, is very, escapist and very, rose colored glasses. Everything just seems so wonderful and doable, and we can do anything. And we're not actually grounding into grounded earth, like into earth. This is, two water signs talking to each other. So all this water energy this week is going to really make us emotional. Connecting with intuition and creative expression is really, highlighted with this aspect. But confusion and unrealistic expectations, if ungrounded, can really be a theme. So that, again, that Pollyanna thinking, everything's possible, or those rose colored glasses, so big this week. And of course, with all that energy of sensitivity, we step into Thursday, November 20th, in a new moon in Scorpio at the 28th degree at 1:48 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or it'll actually be 11:48 p.m. on the day before, on Wednesday, for Mountain Standard Time, or Mountain Standard Time, or 10:48 p.m. on the 19th of November for the Pacific Coast. So this new moon it is a big one. Okay. So a new moon is always a time of setting intentions, of like new energy coming in, but it's also sort of the dark time of the moon still. Like, there's no light emanating from the moon. So it's not a good time to make any kind of choices or decisions. And with all this 29 degree aspect stuff in the sky, I would 100% not be charging moon water or crystals in this energy. This is very disruptive energy. And during this new moon, it is sitting with Mercury retrograde. Like, so if you charge your crystals, or you're drinking moon water during this time, you're going to feel that disruption coming in through that. Like, I don't know, you need more disruption in your life, especially with what's happening in the sky. So this Mercury retrograde is sitting with the new moon and the sun and moon together at that same degree, around that same degree of 28 degrees of Scorpio. And it's also forming a kite formation in astrology. So I won't get into what the kite means. It's actually a trine, the grand trine, which we talked about at the beginning of the week, plus a sextile down to a planet at the bottom of the kite. So there's an opposition that kind of connects the top of the kite to the bottom of the kite. And the saying is if you can grasp that and really work with that opposition, you can fly to the highest heights in your life. And so that opposition in this chart is Uranus, 29 degree Taurus, opposite Sun, Moon, and Mercury in Scorpio. So this is about my gifts and talents, and what do I feel like I owe other people, or the money that I want to make versus the money that everybody else seems that I should make, or money trauma is a big one that's going to come up around this time. And we're seeing that, right now. I was at a women's conference and they were talking about scarcity in the economy, and people not having as much money and not wanting to spend as much money. And it's only true if you believe that to be true. There are people still that have a lot of money. at this time. There's still a lot of people who are investing in themselves. There's people that see opportunity at this time to rise and grow. Like I know, especially as a grief support counselor and a coach, there is so many women at this moment in time that feel lost or feel like they want to step into these dreams, but they don't know how. Like there's such a need for me in this moment in time. Like I want to shine brighter. I want to help these women. And I know that if they invest in me, I will amplify them. I will amplify their gifts and talents. There is, as we come into out of scarcity mindset, there is opportunity. You hear with investment, especially investment, because there's so many access, that when the economy is at the lowest is the best time to invest, not when the economy is at the highest, right? That's when you're going to make the most money. So you really want to think of everything for an opportunity. Everything is happening for an opportunity. If you sit there and this is a bad time in history and this is a bad time for entrepreneurs and all that stuff, well, you're going to create that. I think this is the best time for entrepreneurs at this time. This is the best time for opportunities. Everyone can benefit during this time, but you have to be able to see it. You have to be able to believe it within yourself, or you'll continue to manifest lack and scarcity. And that, I think, is going to be the theme of this new moon. So, emotional and intellectual alignment is emphasized. Focus on what you want to release and what you want to grow. Balancing intuition with practical insights. Because of all this water energy, we really want to stay grounded. That Uranus in Taurus is going to help us out because that's Taurus's earth energy. When we think of everything else in these water signs, it is bringing us a lot of emotion and turbulence. And think of like the ocean churned up, and we've got this Uranus, which also churns things up, but it's in Taurus at least. A little reprieve, a little help. So it's a time to notice where control or rigidity is holding you back, because Uranus does not like rigidity, right? It wants flow, it wants energy to go, it wants to move things out of the way. And surprises can be catalysts for personal growth. I feel like someone needs to hear this on this podcast. Surprises will be catalysts for personal growth. It might feel destabilizing in the moment, but it's going to be helping you. Remain flexible. Opportunities to release outdated habits and embrace innovative solutions. Really guard against this whole week impulsivity. Okay, really guard against impulsive decisions and misalignment with values. Okay, let your values be your guiding light. And then as we move into Friday, November 21st, the sun is at 29 degrees Scorpio. Like there's that, that degree of Scorpio, which Mercury is at as well. Opposite Uranus at 29 degree of Taurus. This is the month of these 29-degree aspects that are really going to disrupt our patterns. The sun's energy in Scorpio seeks depth, transformation, and intensity. It's like it will not take this crap into Sagittarius, which is going to happen on Friday. It's going to move into Sagittarius. But at this moment in time, it's like you're going to leave this crap behind because we have work to do and you're not taking this with you. So if you've been holding on to those safety blankets, my friends, today is the day that the universe grabs it and throws it off the cliff because it is time for you to step out and be who you came here to be. So you might feel restless, craving new experiences, or challenged to break old patterns. Hell yes. It's a time to notice where control and rigidity are holding you back. Surprises are catalysts for growth. Once again, in that, it's time to notice where, yes, rigidity is holding you back. Remain flexible. So, outdated habits and embracing innovative solutions, releasing outdated habits, and impulsiveness, stubbornness, and resisting change is big. So, if you're feeling that you're resisting change, that you're feeling very stubborn, or you're feeling impulsivity, you've fallen into the shadow of this aspect. And the light of this aspect is releasing outdated habits, having kindness and compassion for yourself for these habits and patterns that no longer serve you, but served you at a time that you needed them. Thank you. Blessings to my past self for deciding this was the way that we were going to cope with COVID, with issues in our lives, with disconnection from our friends and family. And now I get to choose something different. On Friday, November 21st, we will still have the sun at 29 degrees Scorpio, trining Neptune at 29 degree of Pisces. I know you're going to be hating hearing 29 degrees from now on. I hope I don't give you PTSD from that. This harmonious trine encourages intuitive insight, compassion, and creative expression. A trine is a harmonious aspect. Right. And as every aspect has its shadow, it also has its light. So the light of this is you may feel inspired to connect with your spiritual side, great for creative projects. Your imagination is strong. Subtle guidance can show you new directions. This is great for writing. Mercury retrograde And Scorpio is like getting to the depth of patterns and writing about them that is going to really help you if you're a writer. Trusting your instincts can help you navigate the tension from other aspects. This energy supports reflection, meditation, and visionary thinking. This is great for spirituality. So, meditation, inner journeying, past life journeys, past life regressions, access deep intuition, explore spiritual practices, and create freely. And the downside of this, because Neptune is involved, can be escapism, unrealistic expectations, avoiding practical concerns. And when I say escapism, this 29-degree Neptune is creating a highly sensitive part of us. We are very, very sensitive in this moment in time. So if you're having medication, or you're trying recreational drugs, or you're going into patterns of drinking, you're going to notice, numbing out is a real part of this pattern that can come out. So notice where you're numbing out. If you're having wine and bottles of wine, a bottle of wine every night, right? I mean, I hate to break it to you. That's a escapism pattern, right? Could you find another way to relax at the end of the day rather than having a bottle of wine? Could you have a glass of wine? Sure. But what if you do something else that brings you joy instead? Go for a walk or do something. I mean, I'm not taking away anyone's wine. I'm just saying, if it's a pattern and it's a crutch, you're depending on something externally to give you support, right? And you have it within. There's high levels of coping and low level coping. And I'm going to say a glass of wine every night to cope with stress. And I've been there, y'all. So I'm not preaching. I'm not preaching from a soapbox. I've been in that space, and it ended up really hurting my stomach and my body, and I had to move away from it. I love red wine, especially with cheese. Oh my God, cheese is life. And I like to have those every now and again now. So I don't have it every night, and I certainly don't even have it every month anymore, because I've realized that my body actually feels better. I sleep better as I got older. I realized wine is not good for me at all. And hopefully that's not the case for you if you enjoy it. On Friday, November 21st, the sun moves into Sagittarius. Happy birthday, Saggies. I have a Sag moon. My child is a Sagittarius. My sister-in-law and my father-in-law are Sagittarius. I love my Sagittarius. They are just so buoyant and funny and always got these ideas and inspiration. They all seem to be very loud, So it's just that energy of fire, right? It's mutable fire. It just goes wherever it desires. Fire in the zodiac and astrology is passion and motivation and desire and creativity. And it's like this energy that just needs to go in Sagittarius. So focus now shifts to exploration, adventure, and seeking truth. Optimism and desire are growth or travel may arise. You are invited to expand your horizons, learn new things, and take bold steps into your personal and professional life. Sagittarius energy encourages honesty and a broader perspective on challenges. It's time for clarity, movement, and philosophical reflections. Sagittarius rules the ninth house in the astrology chart, which is a higher learning, elevating concepts that are sort of from education, from early childhood education to university. So it represents university, philosophy, cross-cultural pursuits, travel, right? Learning about other cultures. It is a higher knowledge and wisdom, and it just wants to adventure. It's also manifestation. So what a perfect time to bring that in, right? And I love bringing that energy of manifestation to everything I do. Obviously, I have MIA Academy. I have a 5-day Manifest Your Best Life challenge coming up in December. Absolutely free. You can register in the link in the bio. I'd love to have you in there, and you can learn how to manifest the proper way, which a lot of gurus don't talk about, because you also have to heal the parts of you that aren't safe to move forward. So yay, Sag season. And broaden your vision, explore new ideas, and take calculated risks. And be careful with overconfidence, restlessness, speaking without thinking. It's a bit of a Sag move. Also, righteousness. When we turn up that, like, the justice, the law is in Sag as well. And Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So it's this kind of this expansive energy, but it's also the law, right? So it's like, doing things the right way, and being a good steward of knowledge and of people. So when Sagittarius turn up too loud, it can be righteousness, telling people that they should be doing stuff when really it's not your business. All right, Saturday, November 22nd, we have Mercury in retrograde in Scorpio, trine to Saturn retrograde. So it's still activating that grand trine. Mercury retrograde in Scorpio encourages revisiting past ideas, emotional processing, and reflective thinking. The trine to Saturn retrograde in Pisces supports structure and disciplined planning. This is an excellent time to clarify complex situations, organize finances, and resolve lingering challenges. Deep insights may emerge if you take methodical, patient approach. That's Saturn. It likes methodical and patient approach. Trust that reviewing the past can bring lasting solutions. It's a great time to create a budget, right? I know a lot of people like to wait till like the end of December, January, but this energy right now is going to help you get your money house in order. You need to. This is why this opposition is happening with Mercury and Taurus, Mercury and Uranus in the money axis, right? So really taking this time to reflect deeply, but make sure you're not falling into the shadow, which is obsessing, overthinking, and being too rigid in your thought. This is now allowing the flow and creativity to help you out. And then on Saturday, we have Mercury retrograde trine to Jupiter. This trine really is very beautiful. It's even though both are retrograde, it is a time to have insightful conversations revisiting old ideas or revising plans that can yield positive outcomes. You may gain clarity on emotional or relational matters and see the bigger picture more easily. Opportunities to teach, mentor, or share wisdom are highlighted. So, this is a great time to connect with ideas or have meaningful conversations with people, and really be careful with this energy of the trine to not overpromise, not exaggerate, unrealistic expectations. Now, this Sagittarius, I mean, that's the background, frequency is Sagittarius, but these two, the trine, especially with Jupiter, can make you feel like I can do anything. I promise all the things. And he is not. You're not supposed to be doing that. You've got too much on your plate already. And then on Sunday, November 23rd, the sun sextile to Pluto. We end off the week in this beautiful energy. It's a supportive aspect that encourages personal empowerment and transformation through conscious action. You may feel a stronger sense of purpose or motivation to make changes that align with your higher goals. Hidden resources or talents can surface, helping you tackle challenges with confidence. This energy fosters strategic thinking and deep personal insight. So it's a great opportunity to step into transforming, like making things happen. This is like inner power. Pluto is death, rebirth, and transformation, but in a sextile, it's like this energy that can help you with moving forward in your projects. And Pluto also rules sort of control and power struggles. So we want to just make sure that we're not, again, with the Sagittarius energy of righteousness and I know what's best for all of us. We want to encourage that collaboration. That moon in Libra is giving us a clue here. We need to have collaboration. How can you have win-win situations this week? If you feel like you're bulldozing or someone's bulldozing you, that's a lose-win or a lose-lose. And we really want to drive for the win-win this week. So I love that we're, bookending, which is an intense week with these beautiful energies of Saturday, Sunday. It is going to be a week of deep, deep healing and introspection and things being shown to your eyes and your awareness for changes to occur, right? This is a big week in the astrology, and there's so much potential here for you. So I am wishing you ease, introspection, self-compassion, and compassion for others as we all navigate this energy together. And I hope this Astro Forecast helps you to be ready for this energy with optimism and the light aspects that can come in, always being aware of the shadow aspects that can come in as well, so that you can elevate your life and the people around you as they are so willing to listen to you in the best and most amazing ways. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Story of Spirit podcast. I hope you have found inspiration, support, and practical insights to help you align with your soul-led purpose and live a life that sets your soul on fire. If you have enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to the podcast, leave a review, and share it with a friend. Your support helps us to reach more listeners and continues to provide valuable content. I sincerely appreciate every share, and I know it is how most people find me. It is because caring people like you have shared me with them at the right and perfect time. For more resources, insights, and to connect with our community, please visit us at www.shetellstory.com and follow us on Instagram at shetellstory. Remember, your journey to a more aligned and vibrant life is just the beginning, and I am here to support you every step of the way. Until next time, stay aligned, stay inspired, and keep shining your beautiful light. This is She Tells Story, signing off from the Story of Spirit podcast. Here's the legalese that's required by our lawyers. This podcast and the YouTube channel represents the opinions of She Tells Story and her guests to the show. The content should not be taken as medical, psychological, or financial advice. This series is informational and entertainment purposes only. Because each person is so unique, please consult your healthcare professional, your mental health dream team, your financial advisor, or anyone else that's an expert in the field in where you are thinking of making big choices in your life.